The Devils continue their 5-game road trip. It's been broken up, started at Madison Square Garden, then the Devils went home, then they went to Washington, then they came home, and now they'll play the final 3 away from Prudential Center, but not returning to New Jersey. And Chico Resch, they got the first of the remaining 3 on this 5-game road trip, off to a sensational start.
Well, that's what we were talking about, Matt. These 3 games are going to matter. And, you know, when I look at tonight, again, I haven't seen all year any Devils just kind of packing it in, like going through the motions. And again, tonight, everybody played hard. You know, and their key guys scored some really nice goals. You know, especially, Timo Meyer scoring that winning goal by turning around a spinorama down low. But he threw his body around, and, you know, he did miss some others. But when it counted, he spun, shot it upstairs, and scored. And so, again, the Devils, if you say that you win and lose as a team tonight, they won as a team. But more importantly, Matty, they flipped the puck out. They were really good in the areas they had to be when they were under siege. And the guy leading them is Jake Allen. I know he gave up 4, but he was terrific. And you're going to need all those things if you're going to win these next couple games, too, and that's what we're going to look for.
Picks up his 14th win of the season, does the 35-year-old from New Brunswick, Canada. And we had detailed it in the pregame show. He gets the 5th lowest goal support among goalies who qualify for listing among the league leaders. So right now that's 22 or more games. And only Jonathan Quick, Kevin Lankinen, Devin Cooley, and Jordan Bennington got less coming into tonight's game. So they score some goals, but yeah, he had to hold on. But that's okay. They ask you at the end of the night, how did you do? And Jake Allen will be able to say, we won, and we're hoping to speak with Jake in just a moment.
And he'll also say, I played well, right? You know, he's not going to say, oh, and I didn't play well. You know what I mean? Because you got to say both. We won, and I played pretty well. And I agree with that. Was he brilliant? Maybe not, but he played darn well.
No, he played one of the best teams in the league,
the
high-flying Dallas Stars, and he comes away with the victory. While we await a Devils guest, and we do believe it'll be Jake from outside the Devils dressing room, let's begin with the highlight look, and we'll rewind the clock to the first period. Devils under siege the first couple of shifts. The top line for Dallas was out there. They were off target on some of their shots. Jake got one that was put his way, but when the Devils finally settled down, man, the dam opened, and the Devils were scoring goals in bunches, and it started with Jack Hughes. Puck in the Dallas end, not cleared. Nemitz down low for Jack Hughes, dances out in front, and he scores! Well, they weren't having much luck, but finally Jack Hughes continues the hot hand. A golden moment here in Dallas. Devils lead 1-0. Jack now with a point in 6 straight games. That's a season high. He wasn't done, but it gave the Devils the 1-0 lead. And Shimo Nemitz with a nice pass, but dazzling skill by Jack Hughes.
Well, it was all of just what you were describing there. A brilliant pass. You got to understand, this just isn't a regular assist. This was brilliant, tape to tape through a very small area. But then, as you mentioned, Jack dancing across. He knew what he wanted to do. He went from the right side all the way across to the left side. But then he still knows, I got to get it up because the goalie's going to have his pad there, and he did.
The lead lasted 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Wyatt Johnston, while we were skating 4 aside, scored his 39th goal of the season, and the Stars had tied it up at 1. But the Devils regrouped quickly. Less than a minute later, the lead was once again the Devils. Jesper Bratt in the center circle. Has his pass blocked away. He recovers inside the blue line. Makes a nice move. Creates some space. Makes another move. Cuts in front and scores! Oh, what brilliance by Jesper Bratt as the Devils have regained the lead. It's 2-1. Another brilliant display of individual skill. This time it was Jesper Bratt with his 18th goal of the season at 9-11. And he was here, there, and everywhere, and again went in front.
Well, they were finding holes in the Dallas defense, which Sheldon Keefe thought that's not going to happen. They're just too tight. But Devils sharp all night, and, of course, the guy's finishing. In that case, Bratt was outstanding.
The Devils' onslaught continued. Connor Brown joining the party. Outlets for Arseny Gritsuk. And now it's taken by Connor Brown. Gets past Rixkovian, moves in. Deep of the shot, and he rings one in. Off the post and in the net, and the Devils have jumped out to a 3-1 lead. Upon further review, it was off the back iron. Either way, it bounced out, but it was a good goal. Connor Brown with his 14th, Arseny Gritsuk. Jonas Siegenthaler with the assist at 12:52. 3-1 was the lead. We'll have more highlights in a moment, but downstairs we go to tonight's winning goaltender, Jake Allen. Jake, it's Matt and Chico. Thanks very much for your time. It was fun for us. I know you can't think of it as fun necessarily when you're working as hard as you did, but your view of the 60-minute effort tonight.
Yeah, it was a wild game. It's been a while. I don't know if we've done that all year, get 4 in the first period, and that's a rarity. That doesn't happen too often, so I don't think we should expect that. But I mean, it was good for the guys, and we knew they were going to have a push, and they have a great power play. They got sort of a lucky bounce in the first one, but I mean, and they're one of the best teams in the league for a reason. So we knew they were going to hang around. But you know what? It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty, and I think that's really important for our group, instilling a little bit of that grit and finding ways to win games when it's not perfect all the time. I think that's a big learning experience, and proud of the guys.
Well, very seldom is it perfect. I mean, we know that it ebbs and flows. But what you had to do, we were just talking, you haven't had much goal support all season long. We went online and realized it by the stats. But tonight, you're in the midst, they're scoring goals. Is that a different approach for you, or is it just the same?
Yeah, no, it's Chico, it's not. You have no attributes to helping them score a goal. So I try not to worry about that at all. And I mean, the guys did a great job tonight, and our leaders led the way and got goals early, and their guys did that too. So it was one of those games that you needed 4 or 5 goals to win, and those happened for sure. And it was good for the guys. I thought we held their push in the third fairly well, and we found a way to get it done. So that was great.
Okay, Jake, I'm trying to be a fan here and say, well, okay, what's he doing? Okay, like, to me, you were very controlled with your rebounds. You were tight, but I don't know that. Like, did you have a mindset? Because they drove the net.
Yeah.
So just tell us what you were thinking.
Honestly, the last 2 of the 3 games, a game against LA, Western Conference team, huge team. Finding pucks. That's a lot of their game. Washington a little bit different, but the same sort of concept here outside of their first line. Their skill guys. They're big bodies. They like to throw pucks to the net, and a lot of deflections. From my perspective tonight, it was one of those games that it's tough to tell from a TV, but it was tough to find a lot of pucks. There was a lot of sticks in the way, a lot of pucks that would hit in guys' pants, and a lot of that stuff Chief, you can't see from afar, but when you're in the net, it's hard. It's one of those games that were bouncing everywhere, and you just had to battle through it and grind through it. So. You know what? I knew they were going to come up for the push and throw everything to the net in the third, and guys helped me out, and I was happy for them.
Absolutely. The Devils win 6-4. By the way, and we'll ask one last question. The last time the Devils scored 4 in a first period was a little over 2 years ago in a win at Vancouver, 6-5, December 5th, 2023. So when pucks are coming at you and they're hitting people, and as you just described, what does the goalie do? Just play strategic, get in position, bigger? What do you do?
I mean, there's no real extra theory about it. It's more just finding, you're doing your best possible way to find a visual cue. Whether if you can't find the puck, maybe you can see the guy's feet, which angle he's going to shoot, sort of where guys are in front of me dictates where the puck can go a lot of the time. So, there's a lot of different ways you have to manage it. And it's not always going to be perfect and pretty, but it's just one of those games you had to battle and grind through it. And, I think that's sort of where the experience comes in, and just finding ways to get it done. And I think that's one thing that through the year we had some trouble with, finding ways to get games done. It didn't matter the type of game, and we found a few lately, and it's good for our group.
Well, Jake, congratulations on the victory, and thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jake.
Jake Allen. Now, he said, look at their feet and see where they might be shooting the puck. Now, tell me about that. He had to get going, so I'll ask you as a former goalie, like, what are you looking at in that circumstance?
Well, you can't look at the puck, so you got to say, where is he positioning himself? One thing is he moving? Like, if he's moving laterally with his feet, then that thing can change. But if he's just standing there, Matty, you will like to get close to him as you can, because even if it hits him, it could hit you. but like he said, it was a battle. I didn't know he had that kind of challenge. But he was up for it, and we didn't have time. But, the other thing he did well, man, on bad angles, he got big. He didn't let them score on shots that guys were just hoping to find a hole. He really didn't produce any holes tonight, and that's what goalies want.
We left the highlights with Connor Brown's 14th goal of the season, giving the Devils the 3-1 lead. Before the period was over, that lead was extended. Here's a stretch pass for Jack. He has a step. Jack in deep. He scores. He went to the backhand, pulled it back to the forehand, and it is 4-1. His second goal of the night, 20th of the season. Luke Hughes, his brother, with the stretch pass, and the Devils took that 4-1 lead into the break.
Yeah, just a great finish by Jack. Other guys could make it too, but not many, and Jack just was brilliant in his awareness on how to get the stick on the deke to be able to shoot the puck in the net.
1 minute into the second, Lenny Hamanaho was called for a trip. Dallas's power play ranked second in the league. They were 0 for 1 in the first period. It was a short 15-second power play because then Heiskanen was called for a penalty. At any rate, it didn't take long before they got on the board. Wyatt Johnston with his second goal of the night, 40th of the season, his 24th power play goal. He leads the National Hockey League, and the Dallas crowd was into it because the team had scored a goal and pulled within two. Well, then Jason Robertson, running neck and neck with Johnston for the goal-scoring lead, scored his 39th to make it 4-3. And things, well, they got a little tight here, but Jake Allen came to the rescue on this drive by Robertson. Johnston couldn't get a shot off, but they couldn't clear the puck either. They get a stick on a pass down low. That was Siegenthaler. Dallas keeps it alive with 45 seconds to go. Now in front it goes. The backhand try by Robertson is denied, and the Devils clear. So good work by Jake Allen, part of his, you always talk about save percentage, doesn't always tell the story. So, he faced 27 shots. He allowed the 4 goals. That'll affect the save percentage. But it blunted Dallas's momentum in the second period there. And so it was 4-3 going into the third. And we would go back and forth for a while. You knew the next goal was going to be huge, either tying or giving the Devils an edge. And it was Timo Meier taking advantage of a miscue on the Devils' part. But it all resulted in a good outcome. Puck in the Devils' end off the draw. Here's Luke pounding it off the wall. Mercer backhands to neutral ice. It's picked up there by Timo Meier. Has a step, slides it near side, saved by DeSmith on Heischer, who has the puck. Floats one far side. Oh, missing the target was Dawson Mercer. Now Meier scores!
Short side!
Baby!
Is that not the life of a goalie? He makes his best save of the night. Then it goes over to Mercer. He misses an open net. So you think, okay, I'm going to escape here. But then, Meier, who loves to shoot the puck, does a spinorama down low, hits it off his shoulder into the net, winning goal.
And so the Devils have a 5-3 lead, but Dallas keeps coming on. But for the most part, Jake Allen, who faced 14 shots in that third period, kept them at bay, including this on the man looking for a hattie. The captain clears to center ice. It goes off a Dallas star stick. Mercer lost control, though. Here's a shot save as Dallas came storming into the Devils' end. Another big stop by Jake Allen. And we're going to call that the play of the game, brought to you by Prudential, the Devils' official financial services partner. It came with Casey DeSmith, who came on in place of Jake Ottinger to start the second period. In goal, he did his job. And so Glenn Gulletson was looking for the extra man on the ice to maybe pull the team into a tie. Maverick Bourque, by the way, had scored to make it a 5-4 game, thus the extra skater, and a chance to tie by Dallas. But in the end, the man who was playing in his 900th game had an assist earlier in the game. That empty net was calling, and Dougie Hamilton ended this contest. Now it's Heischer with it. Wants to get it out of the zone. Cannot. Ben with it. A chance. That's blocked. And now it's cleared toward the empty net. And it will go in.
Was that Dougie Hamilton?
Dougie Hamilton in his 900th game puts a capper on this one with the empty net goal. So Dougie with his 10th of the season. The Devils win 6-1. Let's check in with the head coach.
So it's really good. Yeah, you're talking about the brat. goal in particular.
6 to
Obviously,
5,
individual
Maddie.
effort.
What did I say?
All the way
6 to
around
1.
and take it all the way across the crease to finish. It's a
wish
big time
we
goal,
had.
and it comes at a big time too, because it's 4-on-4. Ryder himself actually just made a mistake, on the goal against, and I think he knew it, but put him back out there, and loved how he just went out and took charge and got the goal back. So that was good. The execution's good. I like all three periods, to be honest. Obviously, the second period, we don't win and we give up some goals and momentum and all that, but there was lots to like in that period too.
Yeah, first of all, Sheldon, congratulations on the win here. Kind of a tumultuous game when you look at the back and forth there, but just speak to the overall resilience, especially in that third period. We talked to Timo Meyer saying we were a little panicked there in the early goings of the third, but that go-ahead goal was huge.
Yeah, I thought we, there was something not to like about the third period. It was in our own end. I thought we had some sequences, with our defense where we could have skated with the puck and, made a better play. Instead, we just kind of threw it away, and that feeds into, the momentum for the other team. But yeah, huge goal, obviously great sequence and series of scoring chances, and Timo, probably on the least dangerous chance of it all, finds the smallest spot to shoot it in. But that's obviously a huge goal to give us breathing room here on the road. We knew they were going to have a push. Their power play is just deadly. So all those kind of things you got to contend with, after 20 minutes. And obviously we scored enough here today to survive making a few mistakes.
Through the second period, really, and just seeing them score those 2 goals and just the way your team was handling those types of moments that sort of lead into your next period?
We took 2 penalties early, right? Obviously they scored right away on the first one, and it's a bad bounce, to be honest. I thought we played it pretty decently, but it just goes right to the wrong guy in the wrong spot. I thought our penalty kill did a really good job after that. We took another one, but that just gave them a little bit of momentum. But watching it back and looking at the scoring chances, I mean, we had more chances at 5-on-5 than they did. Our power play didn't get the goal, in response to Dallas's power play goal. But like I said, we had scored enough and executed enough on offense to have a little bit of breathing room. Their top players are so good and so dangerous. I know they have guys out here, but when Johnson and Robertson get out there, with Heiskanen, those guys are tilting the ice pretty good. So, that was a lot for us to handle tonight. But I liked how we played in all 3 periods. In fact, I liked parts of our second period better than our first. We just didn't get rewarded for it. I thought our pace was better. But all in all, it's a good, gutsy road effort against a very good team, especially in this building and especially defensively. And to get 5 is great.
We saw Gritz leave towards the end of the game. Is he okay? And just did you have a...
He's going to have to get assessed tomorrow. Doesn't look to be anything at this point too serious. However, it's going to have to get assessed and probably get a picture to find out exactly what's going on, and we'll determine a timeline from there.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Thanks, Sheldon. Well, this road
And
trip...
thank you to MSG Networks for allowing us to listen in to that news conference involving Sheldon Keefe. I did not see Gritsuk leave. Hopefully he's okay and can bounce back on Thursday against Nashville.
I know I saw him a couple times in the third period. I don't know when it happened, but yeah. Well, they got a couple forwards that worked out hard after practice today, so they'll be ready to go, I'm sure, in Nashville. And the good thing is, in this game, Matty, what I would say is the Devils never got tied. And that's a huge part of a game. When the team is coming back, but they don't tie you, and you stay ahead. And it was never tied, and at the end, the Devils had the extra goal.
And the Devils win 6-4, not 6-1, as I said a moment ago. Wishful thinking on my part. But the Devils do put 6, including Hamilton's empty netter, on the board, and they defeat the Dallas Stars. Connor Brown, one of the goal scorers tonight, and he spoke with Amanda Stein after the game.
Brownie, you guys, explode on the offense in that first period and proves very important for this group. I mean, just what did you sort of make of the back and forth and the different moments where you guys had to handle, particularly in that second period, their push?
Yeah, I mean, they're good teams and they got a really good power play. And so, giving up 2 power plays to start the second wasn't ideal coming off that. And they kind of built some momentum off that. And they're a good team. They're coming with a push, and I thought we did a good job of keeping our head up and making the next play. And so, we weren't just packing it in and trying to defend. We went out and we scored a few more. So, it was all in all a good effort for the guys.
In that first period, I mean, you guys are scoring, 2 goals on 2 shots, and you're 4 on 5 shots. I mean, what are you sort of feeling as a group when that happens? Is it just sort of just keep going there?
Yeah.
The goaltenders.
Yeah. Sometimes they fall. I mean, the goalie's defense, he wasn't exactly getting shots from the outside. I mean, the first couple ones he looked at were, breakaways and stuff like that. So, it was good. It was nice to see the boys capitalize. Like I think we talked about this morning. They didn't exactly fall on Washington, so just kind of stick with it, and and then they come in bunches like that. So, it was a good sign.
How big is that moment where Timo sort of scores to extend the lead there?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I mean, we go into that third period 4-3, and I think. Kind of what we talked about is, playing with their head up, and they're going to make some mistakes because they got to push and they got to force. And I thought we did a good job. Not only that one, Brader had a breakaway, Merce had a good look, and so we had lots of chances. And I thought we continued to press instead of packed her in.
It's been a struggle to score offensively for you guys lately, but to get 6 goals and to see Jack Hughes kind of leading the way there with the 2 goals in the first.
Yeah, well, lately we've been scoring. I mean, since the break we've been scoring. We had a tough lull, middle of the season there, and I think we've really come into our own as of late, and so that was more of the same here that we've seen as of late.
Thanks, Brownie. Appreciate it.
Connor Brown speaking with the media, including our Amanda Stein after the game. By the way, Arseny Gritsuk did have a shift late in the third period. In fact, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shifts. He left after his last shift. He got off the ice with 4 minutes to go. So hopefully he's okay. He'll be checked out tomorrow when we get to Nashville. Before we say goodnight, let's hear what Jesper Bratt had to offer after the game.
Bratter, that first period proved to be extremely valuable for this group, just given the way things went in the second in particular. What did you appreciate most about the way you guys sort of connected with your offensive game in that first?
Yeah, obviously it felt good to get that kind of start. It's kind of been the opposite most of the season for us to create scoring chances, but puck really haven't gone in. So obviously it felt good that our response and our attention to detail in the goal scoring was there, and obviously gets the boys fired up too, and sets us up good for the second and third.
Obviously they scored 2 goals in the second, but you guys still managed that period quite well. I mean, what did you sort of see there from tackling their push?
Yeah, I mean, we knew coming in here before the second period that they were going to have a push. They're second team in the league. They're not just going to walk away. We knew they were going to have pushes. They have good players that make good plays, but I think overall we were pretty calm in the situation. We managed it pretty well. I thought our defense was pretty good, and especially that third period, I feel like we didn't give them too much other than that one line rush goal that they had. I feel like we kept them, even if they had some time in our zone, I feel like we kept them pretty much to the outside, and Timo came up with a big goal too.
On your goal, did you sort of see what Jack did by cutting across the crease? Like, it was very similar that you both had looks, or is it just sort of the way it
Yeah,
played
no,
out?
I just kind of try to take whatever ice they gave me. Obviously, you can watch Jack every shift and learn something every shift. So definitely try to see a little bit, and then just try to learn from my other mistakes by instead of just being satisfied with being on the outside, just get to that good ice, and it was good that the puck went in this time.
What have you sort of seen since the Olympic break for this group? You talk about handling moments, handling pushes with confidence. Is there something different there that tangibly you can feel as a group?
I obviously think that things started clicking a little bit by us just relaxing a little bit and just playing our game. I think that we're kind of like let our shoulders go down a little bit and just kind of like trusting the system and then just going out and execute, not thinking about so much of if what's and all that stuff. We're just kind of dialing it in as a group, and I think that kind of shows in the flow of our game and the flow of our kind of being on the same page together throughout all those lines, and I think that's just what makes us successful.
But Jake Allen's performance there, hanging in there with some big saves down the stretch.
Yeah, no, him and Markey has been amazing, and Jake had a great game today, especially that third. Came up with some really big key saves, and if you want to be a team that wins, you need goalies like that. So it's been playing fantastic for us lately.
Thanks, Bratter.
And he was supported tonight by goals. He picked up his 14th win of the season. Dougie Hamilton, Jesper Bratt, Jonas Siegenthaler, Jack Hughes with 2-point nights. So Jack and Jesper, as they go head-to-head for the team lead in points, now have 57 each. And now the Devils get ready for Nashville.
And that was fun to watch. But I'll tell you this, Maddie, if Jake Allen would have a 4-1 lead every period, every first period in the entire schedule, he'd have a great record. And that's what was the surprise. And he did battle, and he was watching some spectacular goals at the other end by those guys you just mentioned. But if the Devils can score, Maddie, how many times have we said if they score, they can win? But if they don't score, it's going to be tough.
It is indeed, and we have seen that through long stretches this season. But the Devils, with the victory, now 8-3 in their last 11 games, 8-5 overall since the Olympic break. And their next opponent is the Nashville Predators. That game will be coming up on Thursday right here on the Devils Hockey Network.